Hello and welcome. There it is. Hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network, episode 162. This is our first one on the new streaming platform we're using, Restream. We said goodbye to StreamYard, and thanks to our patrons and all of that, we were able to get Restream up and running. So let us know in the chat what you've been up to, how it's going. There is a chat overlay I can put on, so I just want to make sure it's not coming through for me yet. So I see you look all excited, Curtis, but I'm not seeing it yet, so it will probably load. Yeah, there we go. There's something. But throw something in the chat. Let us know what you've been up to. We're going to be talking about Superbooth. Now, none of us got to go to Superbooth, but we saw quite a lot of what was announced. And we're going to talk our takeaways, and we'd love to hear in the chat what you saw, what interested you. Me personally, I tried to stay away because I'm trying to focus on the gear I have, but there are a few things that did catch my eye. But I don't think I'll pull an Eon Lake. Don't worry about it. But with me today is Eon Lake. What's up?
Hello. Yeah, it's all new, isn't it? Everything's shiny. I can't type in the chat today for some reason.
Oh, no.
Oh, you know it.
Well, we got smiling ears there. It says live.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that's going to be a huge loss to anyone, if I'm honest. But
You're still in the call. I think it'll be all right. You can still share your opinion. Don't worry.
Still do your thing.
I'll talk out of my face. I have to use the old approach.
So what you been up to?
What have I been up to? I've been taking a little bit of a break, and I've been just messing around doing sound design.
Nice.
And I've come to the conclusion that a laptop and a door is just a fantastic way of making sounds. I'm doing it deliberately to load as sound canvases on the beetle crab tempera.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm making samples that or audio files that I'll just bounce out and load and granularize and play different layers of. So I'm just using soft synths to make a sound and running mad effects chains and just making weird noises. And it's a lot of fun.
Well, that's cool. All right.
But a little bit of noodling outdoors because the weather has been great. So, it's that time of year when you've got to start making beats out in the sunshine.
There you go. That's the way to do it. What have you been using when you go out there?
A little bit of the EP133 KO2.
Nice.
Really needs a shorter name than that. But I'm still not able to do everything that I want to do without sort of going back to the manual and stuff. So able to move is still the easiest way to get something done. The most productive tool.
Well, I saw that there is an update or an update coming, right? Mike was talking about it in the Discord that adds some functionality that we were like, oh, that would be quite useful. So
some interesting stuff coming, yeah.
That's not out yet, right? It's coming.
No, it's not. And I'm one of the ones that I like to know it's coming, but I'm happy for them to squash the bugs first.
Oh yeah.
I don't need to be debugging anyone's software for them. I'll be waiting.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. Well, I'm glad you're getting out there, getting some sun. Always good to get some vitamin D. Also with us today is Curtis. What's going on?
It's good, man. Busy. It's been it's been one of those days. It's been such a day where instead of drinking tea like I normally do, I've got a beer. That's the kind of day it's been.
It's one of those days.
It's been one of those days. I don't normally drink on air or in the evening generally, but here we are. So yeah, I'm good. I've not done, in a similar vein, I've not touched the DAW. Well, I've not touched the normal rig, quote unquote, for about a week. I've broken out my DJ decks, and I've been experimenting with the decks and the new update for the SP404. The SP404 is in front of me here.
Nice.
And trying out the DJ.
Oh, using Serato or using the SP's actual DJ mode?
Using Serato.
Nice, yeah.
So I've been going back through my playlists and. I have a couple of different sets depending on kind of the different genres. And I've been seeing how well it works either on its own or as a supplement to the Impulse here. With mixed results, but it's good fun. It's a good place to be. So yeah.
I've not updated to 5.0. I don't see any reason to. For me.
I get that. If you're not that intrigued or if you're not part of that DJ world, that makes absolute sense in that regard. And there's no reason to do it. And it is very much an update for if you don't want to take this with you, or if you don't have a CDJ and you don't want to necessarily, or you're doing like a private function, or you're doing just something you want to throw in your backpack, that's what it's for on its own, right? This is talking on its own,
like its own DJ mode, the proprietary. Yeah,
on its own DJ mode.
Yeah, that's what I used when I did that DJ set a couple of weeks ago. I just used ESP.
Now it can link with Serato. You can essentially do that. You can play tracks, you can stop tracks, you can speed them up, you can mash them together, and it's the basic kind of entry level into your DJing, which is it's there and it's fun. And if I was doing a Sunday afternoon private gig, that's probably what you'd use, right? And that's fine. With everything that comes with things like Serato, ironically, half the stuff that you can use, like the stem splitter in Serato, for example, isn't there. So that's a bit of a difficult one. But
yeah,
I don't want to dive deep into it now. But that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been teasing about, and yeah, it's good fun.
I've actually I really want to check out the other Serato integration they added. The is it Serato Studio, the one with the stem splitting and all that stuff. There's the DJ, and then there's the I used to have the free version of. I can see it on this computer. Let me see. Hold on.
Serato Studio.
Serato Studio. That's it. Yeah. I do want to check that out with the SP because the stem splitting would be cool. But I've also heard that the update adds a bunch of new logos when you turn on the SP, like it's a Serato and all that. And I'm like, I don't know if I want that. just to. But I have gotten a lot of requests to cover the 5.0 stuff on my channel. So at some point, I might do it. But I don't know. We'll see.
It's definitely worth checking out. And if you are trying, it definitely adds another thing to your arsenal. The fun of it really is if you do have a DJ controller and you do gigs and you're familiar with CDJs and stuff like that, and you do use Serato, the fun of it comes when you can use the SP404 as the effects box, and where you can use, for example, you can use scatter on one of the tracks, and you can kind of granulize it and kind of destroy it, and then mash it up with some different stems and different ideas. Especially on something if you have, for example, if you have a CDJ with 3 or 4 tracks on it, you can actually get quite intricate, and you can start building tracks in a very different way. Therein lieth the fun, and therein lieth the fun.
This isn't the EP Medieval or whatever.
It is. That's the fun part of it. On its own, it's very bare bones, and it's very much like, hey, this is how you put 2 tracks together, and this is how you go from A to B and B to C, etc. But then that's why these are here, right? Because then you send that into the line into the SP404, and suddenly it becomes an effects box. That's a bit more high level, and that is when it does start to get interesting. Yeah, that's where we're at. Anyway, that's enough about that. What have you been up to, brother?
Dude, I've been busy. I'm leaving Friday, so I've been just trying to batch up content for the channel, finishing up. I have a couple videos I had to finish on the Seek track. And all of that. So it's been busy trying to do that, trying to teach. But it was interesting when I was teaching a lesson yesterday on the SP, and I tried an effect I've never used before. I think it was called like SBF or something, and it was this crazy like pitch shifting. I don't even know what. It was awesome, but I did that with scatter. Speaking of scatter, and it was crazy the sound it did to this loop I was playing. So yeah, just been trying to get a ton of stuff done, and then it's vacation time, so then I can do nothing. Well,
in theory,
theoretically nothing, but it won't be nothing. But yeah, but I'm excited. It's going to be fun. I want to say hello to everybody in the chat. We've had quite a lively chat so far. Keep it going. If you saw anything at Superbooth, let us know in there. I just want to show that we can do this now. No, it's not going to. I guess. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Look at all that. But I want to say hello to everybody. So I already said hi to Smiling Errors. Cressheads in the chat says, hi, what's going on? Smiling Errors says, I've spent the week arranging and trying to finish this single and put it out. Then maybe think about a video. Very cool. Very cool. And M Fizz is in the chat, says, hi. Lars, one of our patrons, is in the chat, says, hey, fellas, what's going on? Lars, good to see you. Also, Abby, another one of our patrons in the chat. Hello, how are you? Good to see you. And we've got Cresshead saying, yeah, I'm not bothered with 5.0 either. I get that. Memphis says, I don't understand how you should DJ without EQ. If that's a reference to DJing on the SP, I mean, you have equalizer and isolator, so you definitely have multiple instances of EQ. But I don't know if that's what it was in reference to. Anyways, it's great to see you all. Is there anything else you want to go over before we get into the main topic, Curtis?
No, let's run into it. We've got a few bits. We've got a couple of things. You've put a couple of links in the docket. I've got a couple of links. Eon Lake doesn't, but I'm sure he's an encyclopedia of fun. So I'm sure he's got something on the prowl.
He can cover the messenger.
He can cover the messenger. Yeah, that thing that ground sounding from Korg. Where do you want to start?
Moog.
Is it Moog?
Yeah, Moog Messenger.
Oh, I
It
think
looks
Korg,
more like
isn't
a
it?
Moog, though, to be fair. It's not really got that
It looks a lot like the
Moog look, I
monologue.
don't think.
They're branching out.
That feels like
makes
a.
sense.
I could have sworn that was Korg. It's one of those. It feels like one of those Mandela effect things for me. Where genuinely, for a whole week, I've been going, "Oh, it's Korg."
I knew you were going to say
Yeah,
that.
and now suddenly, I live in a different reality. But that's okay. Anyway, okay, we can live and learn. That's why we're here.
Or you've been bouncing between realities so much that in one reality it was the Korg Messenger, and then in this reality now, Moog. I don't know if he froze or if he's just really deep in contemplation.
Yeah,
That was
I think
typing
he's
in the chat.
I can mean.
You break it up there a little bit, Curtis.
I am. Yeah, my connection.
Now I think you're back. You were really deep in that universe contemplation. You were like, what if this is another universe?
Connection lost. Still there.
It's a little early to be going meta, though, isn't it?
I suppose, but then again, here we are. It is what it is. So I think he's freezing a little bit, speeding up a little bit. We got it. Oh, he bounced. He's like, I'm out. He can't handle this universe talk. He's done. I mean, we destroyed his brain, I guess. So there's that. He's the one more prepared on the Superbooth stuff. I've been a bit busy, so this is going to be interesting if he's just out.
We could say hi to Half God, Half Beast.
Yeah, we could say hey to everybody. That's we've got Lars saying the new platform looks fancier. Yeah, but I guess we're running into some issues. So what do you know?
We got the same old internet problem. So
Eon Lake is also finally able to be in the chat, so we've solved one issue at least. The most important issue.
Well, that's a workaround. That's just.
There you go.
Put it on YouTube instead.
There you go. Yeah, that works. Let's see. Half God, half beast. It seems even Restream can't do the emojis. So we've got emojis, but they're just listed as text.
I mean, is that supposed to be the shortcut or something? You're supposed to pull that out to get the emoji.
I think when you put the emoji in, then the chat in Restream just shows it as the text that it is or whatever. But there we go. Also, I want to say hello to another one of our patrons. Thomas Stillhead says, hi guys, can't believe I managed to get here early. Yeah, you're like 50 minutes early. What's going on, Thomas? Good to see you. Welcome. How have you been? Lars says, and he's gone. Yeah, he's out. Oh, he's coming back. Let me add him to the stream. Or there he is. He's moving around. What's going on? And he's back.
Yeah.
Seen her at the controls or something.
Universe for a minute, but he's back.
I'm trying to make sure my Wi-Fi is going there.
Your universe.
No,
how was it?
Not.
Oh no, he froze again. That bad, huh?
He's back.
He seems to be back. You there? Or are you just freezing around? Well, I think he's freezing a little bit, and he's going. All right, we'll go through a little bit more of the chat, and then we'll just improvise with what we'll talk about. I'm new to the Restream stuff. Curtis is the one that tested it all out. So in terms of sharing screen and stuff, we'll see how that goes. So we appreciate your patience as we test out this new format and all of that. But yeah, let's see.
Worth it, isn't it? Just to see us on edge.
Interesting. Half God, half beast is now getting some emojis to work. So I wonder what he did or they did, because it says, wonder if this works. And there's a thumbs up.
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah. The ironic thing, Cresshead says, wired, not Wi-Fi, get connected. I'm actually on the Wi-Fi, and Curtis is the one that's usually is wired. So I don't know.
I'm hardwired.
We're still live somehow, so we're gonna go with it. Let's see what else we got. I'm just seeing what else is going on in the chat. I can also just do this total overlay, which is cool. It just has to load. Smiling Air says Curtis will communicate today via the medium of mine.
Yeah. Semaphore.
So I suppose so. Anyways, Eon, like, what's have you been keeping tabs on Superbooth? I almost said NAM.
I did a little bit. I did a little bit, and I tried not to. So yes and no. a few things kind of find their way in front of your face, whether you're trying to avoid this stuff or not. And yeah, that Moog synth was one of them.
Like while you talk about it, let me just see if I can get a shared screen of the messenger up so we can just check it out. But go ahead and let me know your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a weird one. That it's not anything particularly different from Moog. All right, yeah, you've got digital control of all the knobs for an analog synth. I just thought that there's not even a screen on it. Look,
got it. Is that working?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's not even a preset number for you to look at as far.
And it's monophonic.
It's duophonic, I think.
Oh, duophonic.
So
okay.
it's kind of like the Sub 37.
And the Erebus is duophonic.
Yeah.
You want to just explain for those that aren't familiar what duophonic is?
You have two oscillators, and they're able to play two independent pitches.
Exactly. So it's sort of like voice polyphony, but it's independent to each oscillator.
Yeah, but each oscillator doesn't necessarily have its own envelope and filter.
Yeah. Okay, carry on. Sorry, I just wanted to get that for anyone not familiar with the terminology.
A couple of those, beating against each other. But I mean, it's got wave folding, which obviously the Mavis had that, and obviously the Labyrinth does.
And here it is in its natural environment.
I mean, for a Moog, it's ugly, isn't it? Look at it.
You said it. I haven't said anything. No opinion here. This is actually my first time actually really seeing this messenger. I just synths not really a thing for me at the moment. What I'm looking for, so I was like, whatever.
No, same here.
What is it? 99?
It's got no wooden end panels on it. I mean, come on.
No wood grain. Is it $900? $899 or something?
Is it really? Wow.
Let me check. Oh, I thought you might know.
That makes it pretty affordable compared to the Sub 37 or
but
something.
For a monophonic synth,
yeah.
Let me see. I'm heading to Sweetwater. Hold on. $899. Yeah, that's US.
Well, we tend to get the same in the UK, wherever it is in dollars. They don't convert it.
Yeah.
Sadly, we get the same price in pounds.
Oh, there you go.
Which is obviously more expensive, but
yeah. All right. So, general thoughts on it. Are you of any interest to it?
No, I'm finding it a bit meh. Really, it's not. It's not got the looks. It's not really.
Whoa, hold on. That's crazy. I can share it as a little shared screen. I'm gonna stop sharing though now. So there we go. And
into a synth in a jungle.
Yeah, I know. I was like, it's in its natural habitat. Yeah. So is this of any interest to you? You just got that one Moog, right?
Yeah, I've got a Labyrinth. It's now in a nice dual wooden stand with the subharmonicon. They go together great. Those two. I've been having loads of fun with them.
So let me read off.
That's it for me. I don't need a Mother 32. I don't really want to go the DFAM route either. So I think I'm done with that now. That's cool.
Yeah, I hear you. Let me read off a couple of the specs from the website, and then we'll bring Curtis in. So, monophonic, analog sound engine, 32 keys, semi-weighted keys with velocity and aftertouch. Aftertouch is always a nice touch.
Sounds like a good keyboard, yeah.
Yeah, controllers, pitch bend, mod wheel, velocity, aftertouch. Polyphony, it says just monophonic, so maybe it's not duophonic. I don't know. Analog sound sources, 2 times or 2x variable wave shape voltage controlled oscillators with wave folder, 1 variable wave shape sub oscillator, 1 analog white noise generator, 1 external input and filter feedback. There's some other stuff too. Signal processors, 1 voltage controlled multi-mode Moog transistor ladder filter. That is a lot to say. With selectable resonance compensation, 1 voltage controlled amplifier, envelopes, 2 ADSR loopable envelopes, LFOs, 1 selectable wave shape, 1 triangle wave LFO. So you have 2 LFOs, but 1 does multiple wave shapes, 1 just does triangle. It looks like 256 patches, 16 banks, 16 patches per bank, 64-step savable per patch arpeggiator sequencer. Seeing if there's anything else that's interesting here. CV gate connections. There's 6 times 6x 3.5 TS CV gate in, CV gate out, analog clock in out. Pedal inputs, you can do a sustain and expression. Oh, it's 10. It's almost 11 pounds, 4.95 kilos. Right? Is that it?
Yeah, that's
You can get some biceps going with that. So there we go.
You could probably even.
So Cresshead says on Anderton's the Messenger is $6.99. Is that pounds or euros? Pounds. Okay, so it's $8.99 US. That's what I'm seeing on Sweetwater right now. So
it's not bad.
Yeah, so it is a little bit different. Thomas says that monophonic is a red flag for him. Let's see. Lars says, "Are we play?" I guess so, Lars. Let's bring in Curtis, though. He's sitting patiently. I forgot while I was reading off all of those stats. He's just been sitting there. Let's bring him in. Curtis, you get to come in. He's got the cat. I think he's good. There's a thumbs up and a cat tail. So let me bring him in here. Here we go. All right. Back.
It's Tina.
I'm Tina. Tina's been keeping occupied. Teething problems, right? Now we know that connections are a thing, at least on this end.
I just thought you were bouncing between these universes to Korg Messenger and Moog Messenger.
I mean, maybe I was. Maybe this is what it is. But yeah, so you've been talking about the Moog Messenger while I've been down.
Yeah.
Neither of you are particularly enamored by it.
I just never looked at it. This is my first time looking. I mean, it looks like a synth. That's my first impression on checking it out.
We've determined that, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a synth.
It'll probably sound pretty good. It's not expensive. It's not pretty either. And it's monophonic. I'm pretty sure I saw a video with Loopop who'd managed to use MIDI or something to make it play 2 notes or something like that. Don't quote me. Just go and watch all his videos because he's great. But yeah, I think it is capable of hacking some sort of duophonic functionality, but I don't know. I think we're all a little bit underwhelmed, I think, by that one.
Well, someone said in the chat, let me find it. It might have been Smiling Errors. I got to find. No, it was Cresshead. Said Superbooth was a bit meh booth this year. Not much. So interesting point of it. But yeah, I can kind of see that. I like the, I mean, I haven't taken a lot. I've been trying to stay away a lot from Superbooth, but I did like what I saw of the Polyend Mess. That looked cool.
Yep.
Having a step sequencer effects box that can do like 4 effects at once is pretty cool. But anything else on the Messenger before we move to Curtis? I think you have one more. Well, you brought it and you haven't even been here. So what do you think about them? Or no, you don't. No, you didn't bring them.
Wow. Okay. It does that instantly. Okay.
There we go. And check it. You can actually do. Oh, no, it's not there now.
Hang on.
Here, we were able to get it on the shared screen. But anyways, is there anything else any thoughts you have on the Messenger before we gotta get started.
Okay. All right. So we're still getting to it. I thought back in the day we could queue it and then let it go live, but we can't do that.
It didn't go live, or maybe it did go live instantly. So I don't know.
Yeah. Teething problems again. Yeah.
You might be able to make a separate scene. I can see on the left there's add scenes, so maybe the add scene could be a queued shared screen, and you can bounce
another camera or different, or maybe media. I don't know.
Oh, you just switched.
Okay,
we're not doing that.
Let's not muck around too much.
This is what we do post in the green room for free, not while we're live.
Yeah, we'll work this out. We'll bring you top quality media from next week.
But yeah. I do want to say again though, a massive thanks to our patrons because StreamYard, who we were using, upped the yearly subscription pretty much double, just because. Not much changed. They added a higher resolution, and so I guess maybe that adds some bandwidth issues or something. But they just upped it, and we're like, man, that's what it's going to be. Tough. So thanks to our patrons, though, we were able to get Restream and up and running. No break. We didn't have to try and figure something out in a week. We were able to get it done. So just a massive thanks to our patrons for helping support us with that. And if you want to help support the channel and have us do more things, maybe do 1080p instead of 720p, head to patreon.com/audionautic. So I think Smiling Errors is joking, but hey, we are up and running to a degree. So that test stream did pay off early in the sense that Curtis tested it. I was on full dad duty this week, and then he glitched out while we went live. So there it is. So I'm completely improving on this one today. So
hey, the world is looking for more authenticity. You can't get more authentic than trying to run a live stream and fucking
Nobody
up
would
halfway
take
through.
this.
So speaking of messes, let's talk the Polyend Mess.
Yes, let's do that. That seems like a lot of fun. Let me now, if I share the screen,
I gotta say, I'm sorry, but that was a pretty good transition.
that was a pretty good way of doing it. It's a pretty good way of doing it. Yeah, I'm loving it. So let's do this one. Let's do half screen. This is fun. So, Sunwarper, why did you bring this to the table? This is what Lars brought up. Hey, what was that thing? I think.
I thought he meant all the issues we were having.
Well, I mean, there could be that.
Can I just say props for a patch name, Vigorous Bless?
That's what I was saying. Yeah, it's a good name, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Let me bring this in. So, what is it you liked about this, Sunwarper, and what is it that you want to bring to the table?
I mean, just multi-effects always kind of interest me, just kind of getting as much as you can. I want to say this is like $400. I'll double check. But 4 effects tracks that you can combine all different. It's not like set 4 effects. There's 125 stereo effects, and then you can set 4 of those at any time. So like they say on the website, you run a reverb into a delay or a spectralizer into 2 bit crushers, which that would be an interesting sound, 2 bit crushers. But it's also got a sequencer, which is really cool. So you can do strange effect sequences and things like that, which just seems very interesting for sound design. And I think I even saw it had some, what's it called? I'm blanking on the word, but sidechain, which as an SP user, that could be something very interesting. They've got shapers, drives, filters, pitch shift and spectralizers, slicers, and micro loopers. That's always of interest to me. A lot of the ads that they're doing on it or videos are using guitar, which I think is really cool. But I could see this being really interesting, sending samples into it, or your own samples, obviously guitar, piano, things like that. But samples, loops of like a full idea. Like if you have kind of an idea that you don't really like that you've been making that has drums, guitar, synths, whatever, throw it in, chop it up, add all these effects. Like it could be a really cool little sampler sound design box,
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun,
especially with the sequencer. That seems really interesting.
A happy accident box, right? You can plug that in, plug something else in, and something will come out that you will use essentially. Yeah,
I think I think it's pretty cool in that way, and I like that it's 4 program. It reminds me like the kind of idea of the SP with the 4 bus effects. You can do like, and the same way you can program it, but here all 4 are easily accessible, whereas on the SP 3 and 4 it's pretty hard to use.
Very much so. I love what Lars has to say about this whole thing, and I'm in complete agreement. And I mean, Lars, you should start doing reviews for stuff on Fringes of Sound as well as other artists, because that is just amazing in that regard. We won't read it out so that we don't lose copyright, but that is beautiful. It does, because I was thinking, you know what? I was thinking exactly the same thing. It's beautiful. And I think you're...
I like it. I mean, I've always liked Polyend's designs. They all are pretty sleek and like cool looking. And this one with the screen and all that. At first I was like, is a pedal the most, like the best way to present this? But it does make a lot of sense, for sure. And you're just moving it all over the place today.
Just having fun. I'm just having fun, seeing where we're going.
But I think it is cool, because I was like, if it's mainly synth and samples, like is the pedal the best format to do it in? But I think it does make sense. And then again, I don't know what would be the better form, so it's like, that's probably the way to go.
I agree with you. And I mean, Spiny Air says it. Most happy accident boxes cost a lot more.
Yeah, let me find the actual price. I saw someone put the
over here it's about
£500.
£500.
£500, yeah, £514, which is very specific for Tom Ed.
Yeah, 514, huh?
Yeah, very specific.
I mean, it varies a bit, but I mean, yeah.
I think for something like this, generally speaking, I could make a mess. Generally speaking, these things do cost a lot, right? What's that box?
Perfect Circuit, really quick, has it listed at 600 USD,
which is about 500 or just
so
under 500.
I apologize. I think I said 300 or 400 earlier. I must have saw that. So 600.
Yes. 6. I mean, which is a lot for what you want to do, and I wonder if it's one of those where you buy one and you never use anything else, right? It's a heavy investment in that sense. And
Yeah.
probably.
I think for what you get, I mean, what Strymons? How much do those cost for like a reverb only pedal?
That was 400, I think, €400.
So this is 125 effects with a sequencer.
My
microcosm is around the 500 mark.
well, that's it, right? That's
crazy, man. The price of these pedals is crazy now. Just thinking back to when I first started playing guitar and was like, I'm gonna get a Boss Distortion for like $100.
Well, a Boss Distortion.
I mean, it's just a distortion. I get it, but
I mean, we are getting into this world where these things are increasing in price, and the thing that always gets me. Okay, stemming off of what you're saying about guitar pedals. In my experience with these things, multi-effects pedals tend to be, you get a lot going on.
There it is.
But there you go. That's what I was looking for. Nice. Come with us as we explore this new application that we use to broadcast live.
Hey, we're live. We're not just talking Superbooth.
We're doing the right, right? But okay, so think of like something like the Boss ME80, right? Back in the day, solid piece of gear. It's an expensive multi-effects effects processor unit, and everything in that box, it does everything, but it does everything kind of meh. If I'm spending €600 on the Polyend Mess, I want everything. It might be a multi-effects processor, but I want everything in there to be top-notch quality. And I would need to see some. I need to see some kind of sound test, but I
think there are some demos on this and all of that. So, I mean, maybe we can take a look, or we can just send people over to their website to check it out.
Yeah, I get that.
But I hear you. Yeah, for 600, you don't want to go sight unseen, or would just like, I'm just gonna buy it,
Entirely, yeah. I think it does look really nice, and I'm kind of, especially since you've been playing with the Polyend synth Sunwarper, I'm kind of, it's piquing my interest.
I'm sorry, I was coughing. What did you say? Since I was what?
Since your demos of the Polyend synth.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of been piquing my interest a little bit more, and Polyend are coming on my radar a little bit.
Synth got a really cool update. I got to explore it still, but it'll have to be after the vacation. But they added a new synth engine that I think is like you can slide between two samples. So that has really intrigued me. And then the tracker, I know Eon Lake has his opinion on the tracker, but I am loving the tracker. That thing is
coming soon to eBay.
That thing is awesome. I love the tracker. I've had so much fun with it.
Its box over there.
That's sad, man. The tracker is awesome. I love that thing.
I would like to see what the fuss is all about. I don't know. I've never used a Polyend thing, so I can't comment.
Well, for this particular thing, I want to see somebody put it through its paces with like drone-y stuff, real extreme effects and textures and things. And how much can it do? Or is it just, I mean, multi-effects we've had for years, haven't we? Guitarists have had them since I was a kid. They used to have those like rack mount multi-effects, and it was all like chorus and flanger and delay and echo, If it's got all the fancy new stuff, if it's got granular things and so on, and really massively long reverbs of good quality.
Also spectralizers and stuff.
Yeah.
You can do some crazy things, yeah. And slice. I was just, because I was compiling a video and I was watching some stuff I was doing with the groove function on the SP for ambient music, which I don't know if you saw the groove function. That came in 4.04, but it adds that like, it subtly or not so subtly adds humanization in quotes to whatever sample you send through it. So it's meant to be used for drums, but on like an ambient drone, it turns it into this like chopped, moving, almost granular kind of like bouncing between sounds thing. I was like, oh, that'd be cool.
You get artifacts from it then.
You get some really nice artifacts, yeah. And you can change the depth, you can change the time value, like 16th note, whatever, and like all of that. There's a lot there. And of course, this is just a random feature in the SP, but I was like, ooh, yeah, because it was an ambient drone I was doing. And I was like, yeah, doing things like that could be really cool. And with the sequenced effects, like this thing has, you could, and if you MIDI sync it with like a synth or with your drums, you were doing with Space Blender last week, 2 weeks ago? Remember with syncing with the drums and all that? Just imagine doing that with 4 effects at once.
This is I hear you, and I think you're completely right. And as soon as you brought this to the table, my first thought went to Hydrofighter.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, how do I sell a kidney? That's what you were
Well,
searching
I mean,
on.
yes, that was my second thought. But my first thought was Hydrofighter, because he continues to build his doorless setup, and he's bought devices and hardware boxes that literally just for LFOs and stuff like that. Like, imagine the fun that Hydrofighter could have with that, for example.
Yeah. I mean,
like-
I just want to add one other thing regarding like the price, and this isn't necessarily for just this one. And I know multi-effects boxes don't have a very good history in terms of like quality per se. But like I use the SP as kind of a all-in-one as a multi-effects box. And like, if we want to talk being cost conscious, right? Like it might be 600, but if all of the effects are good, hypothetically, then you can have that one pedal that can do 4 effects at once. And you may not need to buy like one reverb that's 400 and one lo-fi sound that's 200 and one delay that's, and this and that. So theoretically it could be really cool. Like how I'm using almost exclusively the built-in sounds in the SP for a lot of things. So it's like, I always like to approach it from this budget idea. And again, 600 is not budget friendly per se, but when you break it down, if you're trying to buy multiple effects units, that adds up quick too. So
Well, completely. You buy one, and then you're done. Like like this, you spend 600. That's okay. Say coming back to your Boss Distortion, right? You can buy 6 Boss Distortions for around about the same price, maybe.
I have mine up there.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, and you can have that, and but this, if you know what you want and you know what you're going for, €600 is an investment, and you can run it in.
Well, the good news is €514 or pounds.
€514, £514. Yeah.
600 for us.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing, right? It's what exchange rates are. But yes, the notion of it, you buy one, you never need to buy another one. Which is, if you're going that way, like again, Hydrofighter is a perfect example. Buy one and done, and call it done, and then you just make the music. Then it seems like a pretty good way to go, especially if they've got updates coming through as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do want to just, Cresed mentions, he's right, but I'm not always doing input effects when I'm saying 4 effects. There is the input effects, and that's true. And that is the 5th one, but you can only access it for external input. You can't really use it as like a 5th for anything once it's inside the box. So it is awesome, and you do get 5 effects theoretically with that, but yeah, once you've already put it in, you got 4. So
yeah. I would like to hear creative use of the fact that it's sequenced though.
Yeah, that's what Half God, Half Beast was saying as well. It's the sequencer that makes this a thing for sure. I mean, that's like the defining feature, I think. But having all of these effects and having 4 at once with the sequencer, that's crazy. So if it sounds good, I mean, man.
Yeah. He coughs right on cue.
Look at that. We're still riding the mic with these coughs. I'm still getting over that cough too. So that's brilliant. Good job, Ian. Like, all right, I think that's enough about the mess. Curtis, that's all I really saw that from Superbooth that truly caught my eye. What about you?
I got a couple of things. I know that Eon Lake has got one more. He was piping up in our private chat, and I want to get to that. Did you have a particular urgency, Eon Lake, to bring this up? No. Okay. Well, how about I want to talk about the Neuzeit Drop, and then we'll come back to what Eon Lake wants to talk about. I won't take it away from him. This caught my eye.
He doesn't deserve it.
I'm
just kidding.
Fucking shots fired. This is what brought my attention. This just is a wonderful little box. It looks like a wonderful little box. This I think it's Neuzeit. Neuzeit instruments are coming. They're going to be releasing their drop, which is basically a MIDI controller designed for live performance. And so if you are using a lot of things in the box, and if you're using a lot of things like Ableton, well, obviously you'd be using Ableton. What else would you be using? Because it's the best thing in the world. But
the bias is strong with this one.
Just thinking about some conversations I've had today with some of my students.
Are they challenging your notions of reality and objective truth?
Yeah, they're all FL people, and that's great, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I just happen to teach Ableton, and they're wondering why. So
You're wrong. According to them.
This thing looks pretty cool. I'm gonna bring up this. If you can see this, this is quite nice. 4 MIDI ins and outs, two USB in and outs, CV in and out. So there's a lot going in and out of this little box. And the idea is that you can control devices both in the box, and you can control external devices all from one space, which is really, really nice. It's like this ability. I know that we can do this through things like the Digitac, for example, which can be done already. This is just another way of doing it. But the flexibility of this box and the way it's been done, I find quite interesting. It's built to metal, it's built to last. Like I say, 4 MIDI in, 4 MIDI out, TRS A or B in, 2 CV ins, 2 CV outs for clock, and you can macro map any of those knobs to anything you want. You can MIDI CC it, 14-bit CC, aftertouch, pitch bend. There's an Ableton clip launcher. So, that's nice in its own right. So there's 20 banks, so basically 20 different mappings that you can use, and presets that you can call back on. And I think the idea of having one box to control all your devices or everything in your DAW from one space is really nice. It seems, from what I've seen from the videos from True Cuckoo, I don't know if you guys have seen his videos at all. It looks like a more affordable version of the Digitact, which
Wait, okay, hold on, because the chat's going crazy about the price, and you just said more affordable than the Digitact. What's the price?
Okay, that
because you just dropped this thing and don't mention price.
Let me double check that. Let me double check where that's coming from. That's coming from a video. Hang on.
Here, I'll stop sharing your screen for a second while you figure that one out.
You do that.
All right. While that goes on, I'll read some of the chat. Cresset says, gonna be $1,000 or $1,000 if they're hiding the price. And Stillhead says, and it has a sequencer built in ? So is there a sequencer or no?
Juno.
I don't think it does. No.
No sequencer. Okay.
No sequencer involved.
600 from Juno. It looks like it's built. I mean, firstly, it's very pretty. Lots of lights. I'm assuming that they're using that because they've got endless encoders and they're going to show you the position of the encoder, but you never know. It might just be to look pretty, but it looks like they're trying to include DJ tools and looping tools so that you can do builds and drops whilst controlling every other facet of what you're listening to as well, with like knob functionality, faders, and whatnot.
Yeah, I would definitely say with Half God, Digitact is more than a controller. so much more than a controller. And Lars is pretty feisty today. He says in all caps, "What about the dollars, Curtis?"
It's a good
He's
point.
He's looking hard. You got him under pressure. Look at him.
I am there. I'm sweating.
Yeah,
he's sweating. I've got it.
It's a very good point. I haven't looked. Music Radar can't tell us. Toman, it's not on there. I'd have to look.
So the cost is
at Juno.
TBD.
TBD. Yeah, TBD.
It's a grand.
It's WIP, work in progress.
Oh, okay. I've got a pre-order here from Nightlife Electronics in Canada. Give me a sec. Okay, maybe you're onto something. 1229 in.
Well, look at him. He's going. This is dedication for you, Lars.
880. That's what they're looking at.
$80. Okay, I think they
880.
upped the Digitac 2 to 1,000 or 1,100 recently, but I don't think that's a fair comparison per se.
Well, it's not. This is just immediate. Like you said,
Yeah.
the Digitac does a lot more. I'm not putting them in. I understand how I came across in that sense. I'm not saying that you can compare the two, but I'm saying that this could be for a market of people who aren't necessarily interested in the beauty of what the Digitac has inside of it.
Who could
right?
that be?
I mean, 880 is, I suppose, easier to swallow than say 1100 in that sense.
I suppose depending on your needs, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Highly dependent on your needs. But man, the MIDI I'm not trying to be argumentative, but it just reminds me the MIDI stuff that you can do on the Digitac is pretty crazy. I CV control like all of the effects on the SP, and then I could like change all this stuff. You can do a lot with the step sequencer as well. I love that Digitac.
So Chris Head's asking if it's a sampler as well. I think you get the opportunity to create loops from audio.
That's
on it,
cool.
from what I can see, and manipulate them in a droppy sort of fashion, so that you can do that 2-finger thing. If that's the sort of thing that you like to do in front of other young adults.
That's what you like.
All right.
It's all about that, isn't it?
Yeah, I noticed that the drop controls are on the left, so the right hand can.
What if you're left-handed?
I'm left-handed. That's the thing.
I'm left-handed.
Yeah, exactly.
we're not their market, I guess.
So we got 3 left-handers on here. Wow, that's mad.
Are you left-handed too?
Yeah.
Whoa,
Left-handed people,
that's crazy. Okay, wait. Because Curtis plays guitar right-handed like I do. Would you play guitar guitar?
Right-handed.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because that's the true flexibility of left-handed people.
Yeah.
Well, see, I think the left hand, the one that's doing all the shredding, should be, that's the main hand,
Depends, yeah.
It depends on how it's just been thrust in front of you, right?
I don't know. Somebody when I was a kid was like, they're more expensive. Don't get a left-handed one. And then my brother's right-handed and he had a guitar and I was like, I want to play that. So I just played it that way. But my justification for all this time is that I want the shredding hand to be my dominant hand. So
I get that. I think there's something there. I mean, it's always something about going.
Oh, Chris says left-handed too. What is this? That's crazy.
Creatives, man. Creatives.
You have to rebrand the whole thing.
That's for you.
Left-handed
Audionautic, yeah. But I mean, ever since you see Jimmy taking a right-handed guitar to play left, you know that playing right-handed is the best way because in that sense, because it's just a better quality of hardware. Anyway,
or just Jimmy's just awesome. Jimmy's just Jimmy.
We all love Jimmy. Can we just have a moment for Jimi Hendrix because that's amazing. But yeah, so I think that this is a nice little thing to do. Obviously, it doesn't live up to the notions of if you can pay top dollar. And sure enough, yes, the other box with a lot of flexibility. I do think this box is kind of pretty. It's kind of nice, and as much as we disintegrate the notion of doing the left hand kind of
and towards the Digitac.
Yeah, I think there's a lot there to be playing around with, and it's a nice little box. And I think that with these newer companies coming through, it's nice to give them a little bit of a shout. It's cool to go.
Yeah, I'm always interested when somebody's got a new controller out, especially if they think it's going to do everything. I mean, they never do, but I do like fancy controllers.
Fancy controllers. So that Hungarian, we did that piece on that Hungarian company. I think they're Hungarian from a couple of years ago. I don't know if you remember the small little boxes and the modular boxes. That you
Intech, is it?
Intech, something like that. But they're fascinating because you can essentially build your own MIDI controller in that sense, and this seems kind of similar in that regard, a little bit. So yeah, that was my kind of thing. There's a couple of other things, but that was my kind of like ooh moment, I suppose. Ooh, I have no money,
On a similar note, then, did you see the new Launch Control XL?
Yeah, I'll bring it up. I did. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us where you're at, because I'm sure I have some similar ideas. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I like the way it looks. For starters, it's got a little screen. So I've got one old Novation thing somewhere that actually has an LCD on it, and it's really useful if you've got more than 8 tracks of audio and you're cycling between groups of 8, because it actually tells you what every channel is. Now, this isn't going to do exactly that, but it does have a display on it. So if you touch a fader, I imagine it's going to tell you what's on that fader and so on. So I've been seeing some Discord groups sort of umming and ahhing about whether or not this is good because of the endless rotary encoders. And some people I know who play live a lot saying that they are the devil's work and that you need a fixed encoder if you're playing live because it's dark, you can't see what you're doing and so on. And I trust their opinion. At the same time, I quite like the endless ones. Those look just like the ones on the Digitact. I don't think they are probably at that price, but it does look really nice. It looks like it's giving you a lot of information. Yeah, unfortunately, I've already got one though, so I can't really justify another. But I thought it looks like a nice update and a bit of a common sense one. It's got all the usual things, but just a bit more information for when you are in the dark trying to figure out what the thing is doing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that one. I think one of the nicest things, if I don't know if you can see this on the side, is it the side? The side. It's actually wedged, so it's slightly curved and raised up. Which is a really nice touch. Like I've got 2 of the Mark IIs, and I put them up on laptop stands because they weren't wedged. That's a really nice kind of like integration kind of coming here. It does look a lot like a push. It looks very similar to a push.
As long as it doesn't have that coating that turns to goo after a few years, that drives me crazy.
I hope not, but it does feel a little bit pushy, in the best of senses. I've seen, especially the 5-pin MIDI out in the back, as you can see here. That's kind of a nice little touch. And allow, you can. I saw a couple of shorts. They were playing with the Base Station Mark III, which I think has come out as well. So the idea that you can MIDI map it and you can control external hardware with it, again, similar to what we've just seen. That's a really nice kind of like development from there.
Yeah, and playing live, I do find it useful to have a couple of controllers of different types. So that when you have something that you want to just set up, you think, I'm going to do this, I want something to control it, I'm going to nail it to that particular controller so it always does the same thing. It's good to have a few of these things kicking around. It really is.
I really like the look of it. That looks cool.
It does. It does look very cool.
I could see that being very useful in the studio with hardware, with whatever, live, like Ian Lake is saying, for sure.
Yeah. I think it's a nice little update from them, and the fact that more companies coming back to this idea of 5-pin MIDI.
Yes,
I like that as well.
Yeah, I do not like the I don't know where I have it. My
TRS,
mess, but those conversion cables are just so frustrating.
Especially because when they did TRS MIDI, they didn't agree on a standard. So now we've got 2. You've got A and B.
Yeah, A and B. Yeah, I had that issue when I was using the Polyend stuff. Because the Polyend stuff is, I think, B, and everything else I use is A. Yeah, so I was having all these issues. But yeah, I wish this would just stop. Yeah.
Just stop. I wish this would just stop.
Stop, please.
Yeah. We don't need it. Please.
At the same time, I would say the fact that I'm looking at, the new version of the Novation controller, it says a lot about NAMM for me, because there was a lot of stuff. Everybody does have new things, but I did find it a bit underwhelming. And
wasn't Creshead the one that said it's Mehbooth this year?
Mehbooth, yeah.
Yeah, Mehbooth. So
can't disagree, really.
Yeah. But it's kind of where we're coming. Like it's innovation is difficult when when it's about profit, right? And if in the same way that we see it come towards film, we see it come towards radio, TV, whatever, when you're trying to go for the middle and try and get the biggest market share, innovation is lost in that sense. And, we're in that market, and it's a shame, like you guys had the Moog Messenger up before, didn't you? And it's one of the synthesizers of all time. And it's another thing in that sense. And you know, how far can we go in terms of hardware, right? How far can we go with the dynamism of what you can do in a DAW, but in hardware without the processing power, and keeping it at a reasonable price, where we're not paying $5,000 for something boutique, for example. So, you know, I think you're right. I think you've said it quite very well, Egon Lake, and it's a weird one. It's a meh booth, and I wonder if it's a sign of the times in that sense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, as soon as those words were out of my mouth, I thought in my head, I'd hate to be the one, you know, trying to keep this slathering army of tech gear enthusiasts happy with new ideas. So, quick, think of something new, make it absolutely brilliant, and then another 11 things and put them all in one box. It's not easy. It isn't easy.
No,
It's
that's a good point.
miniaturization, the stuff we've already got. You know, it can get a bit too greedy, perhaps. And I'm glad that I'm not on the designing end of this stuff, because it must be quite stressful.
Yeah, I suppose that's a problem too, because you always you have to reinvent the wheel, right? Because you have to make new things that people want to get excited to buy, so that your company stays in existence. When you've already made something awesome, it's like, I mean, you can do firmware updates, which might get new people to buy it, but obviously making something new means people who've bought the previous one might buy the new one as well or something. So it's a tough spot to be in, especially with tech, where you're always trying to we should keep making cool new things and all that. I'm not saying otherwise, but yeah, I'm just empathizing with you, Eon Lake, on that. Yeah, it is interesting. But on the other hand, we should get cool stuff, and even just seeing things, it's not going to happen right now, but just new things be cheaper, or versions of stuff being shrunk, like S1 and the P6, like, hey, this is $200 and it's a 12 voice sampler. The last 12 voice sampler you had was X amount and was far bigger, but this is portable. Like, that would be cool too.
That's kind of the problem now, though, isn't it? Because you see a little matchbox size thing, you think, what is it? What does it do? Everything, right? And it's like, well, no, it doesn't actually. Oh.
Yeah, then you're like, but this thing can do that, or so. Yeah, no, we're in an interesting spot, and yeah, I mean, I don't think,
right?
I don't think for the time being we're gonna see prices go down. I just saw for the first time ever in video game consoles, at least since I've been playing video games, 5 or 6 years after a console released, they're upping the price rather than lowering it. I remember 4 or 5 years after the GameCube came out, you could get it for $99 or something, and the Xbox and the PS2 would go down. They'd make new revisions of them that were smaller, and they were more less expensive, I should say. And then now you have the PS5 and the Xbox Series X going up in price with no changes, no subtle improvement, nothing so yeah,
completely. I mean, we also drive it in that sense, right? Because we are the petulant children. Entertain us, give us more, give us something different, give us something new.
Yeah, and then not that.
Yeah. Oh, we don't want that. That's
yeah, but see, what I was getting at, half God, half beast, kind of says part of what I was getting at is it doesn't always have to be something new. The mini Moog is great. These days they could make an affordable remake or something. We could do with the SH101. We got the S1, which isn't a 1-to-1 obviously, but they made improvements to it. It's polyphonic. It can do sequencer record, automation to the effects and stuff. That's cool too. It doesn't always have to be something flashy that does this brand new X, Y, and Z. Just a refinement of something classic that's cheaper and more accessible to those who want to get it but can't buy a vintage piece of gear for however much, Oh,
completely and utterly. And maybe, hopefully, maybe that's where the tide will turn in that sense. I mean, we have to see where it pans out. I completely agree with you. I'd love to see a more realistic, lower barrier to entry remakes of classic vintage synths, for example. And in the same vein, it would be lovely to see. So we'll have to see how it pans out. We've got NAMM 26, we've got Superbooth 26. Right now, in the present moment, maybe this is a signal for all of us just to shut up and use the gear we've got to make the music that we want to make.
That's what I've been trying to do. That's why I didn't even think of Superbooth as meh this year, because I barely looked at it. I just saw Polyend sharing the mess and was like, that's cool.
I think From a gear perspective, yes, and I think you're completely right. I think we haven't been wowed so much this year. There are some really interesting things, and there's some really nice things to do, and I think that's great. I think the fact that these things are growing, and I think that these things are more consistent, and I think that there's more of a space and more of an awareness for people in our community who love this stuff to celebrate it and meet in person and go and enjoy it and be safe and unapologetic in that space is wonderful. And I think that I'll take that. I'll take a third iteration of the Novation Launchcontrol XL if it means that nerds like us can link together in Berlin and go, hey, sup.
Yeah, and none of the three of us actually did link up in Berlin and say, "Hey, sup?" But I get you. I get you.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, there is always. There's always space for it.
Yeah, just celebrating the musicianship is, you know, and just lovers of gear and all that stuff, you know, and coming together, and yeah, it's cool.
It's great in that sense. Yeah, so that's where we're at. You never know. Next year there might be something that completely blows our minds. You don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to even think from NAMM what was like really awesome. I think none of what I saw at NAMM that like wowed me was stuff that was new to NAMM. It was the stuff that has already been out that was like, oh, that's really cool, you know, like that I hadn't seen yet or something. But I'm trying to think. I mean, all of the compacts were awesome. I like the Seek track, and then I got to check out the Seek track, and I still really like the Seek track. I'm just trying to think.
That MIDI port is a crime on the Seek track.
Yeah, because it's a proprietary cable or something, right?
Honestly,
yeah.
Somebody needs to be flogged mercilessly for that.
Yeah, that's something. It's a choice. It's definitely a choice.
You can do MIDI over the USB-C though, can't you?
I think so. Yeah.
But proprietary interfaces getting a C, honestly.
Yeah, proprietary interfaces and then MIDI A and B. The banes of our existence. The banes of our existence.
Dave Smith and all the other manufacturers, they got together and they spent ages and they made sure that everything was made the same. And this wonderful era launched of like everything working. And then somebody goes, let's use a smaller jack and let's mess up the standards so it can work.
You know what they say?
How dare they?
You know what they say? Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Via MIDI.
Via MIDI connection.
How dare they? That's the most like small world burning. But they plant their flag and they're gonna die on that hill, I guess.
Hey man, the ego is powerful in many forms, you know. But yeah. So
all right, well, gents, I've got to bounce. Is there anything before we go, or do you want to stay on after I go?
Important thing for us, I think the Polyend Mess was the winner for me. That was the most interesting thing that I want to know more about and want to see people goofing around with.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
That's my takeaway. But again, I mean, I guess I'm a bad podcast host, but a good budgeter, because I did not check out much from Superbooth because I was like, I don't want to get anything. I need to make the most of what I've got. But yeah, the Mess looks really cool. That's my one takeaway from it.
I get that. I'd agree. So yeah, we will continue on this exploration, and we will continue to learn how to use Restream. We haven't just before we go, because I know we do have to go, but we didn't do a community corner this week. But just once again, thanks to our patrons. This show is brought to us by the patrons. The fact that we've moved on to Restream is because of our patrons, and thanks to them and their continuous patronage. If you liked what you heard today and you want to get involved, firstly, head to the Discord, and you can do that by scanning this particular QR code, which pops up here and shields my face, which is wonderful. You can now scan the QR code.
Wasn't there another way to share the link that went to the right?
You can. I also, yes.
Whoa.
I'll work that out.
That's cool.
But
it's got bling on it too. I hope you noticed it.
Yeah, the bling.
It does have bling on it.
It's annoying though that the Discord link, we have to change it every week. That's Discord for you.
I'll add it to the list of things to do in pre-production. But the main thing is, if you want to, and I'm going to pop over here now, this thing here that you see, if you want to get involved and support us directly, head across to Patreon, patreon.com/Audionautic. You can start there as little as $2. per month. And it goes up in different things that happen. We'll go into the details more next week. But if you've liked the show, consider becoming a patron, and the list is there if you want to do.
Yeah, and if you're watching on your phone and can't scan the QR code, the link's in the description too.
Also that.
All right, we don't have outro music for this one, right? Not
No,
yet.
so we're just gonna kill it.
So we're just gonna go cold.
Yeah,
all right.
go dead.
All right. Well, it's been great hanging out with you all. We will be back next week at 11 a.m. Pacific. I won't be here though, but it will be these two manning the show, and I'll be back in 2 weeks. But we will be back the show in 1 week, Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific. So with that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. It feels really wrong just hitting this end, but yeah, it's saying, "Are you sure you want to end it?" Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right.